One woman boldly mocked God on national television, highlighting the tension between believers and non-believers. What if, though, her contempt for the divine let loose powers she couldn't control? Something odd happened in front of everyone's eyes while the cameras rolled. Is this a coincidence, or the work of a greater force out for vengeance? During the final debate, this intriguing story of arrogance and the unknown invites you to unravel the mystery and investigate the results of questioning the Almighty. During the final debate before Georgia's election, Republican Governor Brian Kemp and Democratic challenger Stacey Abrams elaborated on their opinions on abortion and offered starkly different plans for the state's economy. Brian explores the concept of synthetic samples that are intended to fool people into thinking they come from a human body. They illustrate the misleading character of these samples, indicating their goal of fooling people into thinking they are genuine. The subject of the conversation is Georgia, so Brian cites a point made by Stacey Abrams. In light of the potential for misuse and manipulation of fabricated samples to impact public perception and decision-making processes, notable figure Abrams has raised concerns. Her argument highlights the significance of keeping things open and honest so that the legitimacy of the body is not jeopardized by inaccurate or misleading data. This issue of fake samples, as the speaker argues with reference to Abrams' thesis, has wider social and political ramifications than just lying. The inclusion of Stacey Abrams, who is widely recognized as an authority on the subject, lends credibility to the debate. Some people and organizations referred to the 1973 landmark decision Roe v. Wade as federally sanctioned child murder, and they do so quite frequently. This case was heard and decided by the Supreme Court. These people think that the judgment that made abortion legal in the United States authorizes the intentional termination of unborn infants, and they consider this to be a very serious moral matter. They want to see a decrease in what they consider to be state-sanctioned child murder all the way up until it is fully abolished from the society as a whole. According to people who share this point of view, the emphasis is placed on the ethical and moral ramifications of having an abortion. They say that the right to life should be extended to unborn children, that stopping a pregnancy is the same as ending a human life, and that this right should be extended to unborn children. They believe that the legal framework that was established by the Roe v. Wade case condones this act and makes it possible for it to be carried out under specific conditions. From this point of view, actions are taken to question and overturn the rulings in Roe v. Wade. Some people attempt to sway public opinion and lobby for more restrictive abortion regulations in an effort to restrict women's access to the operation and safeguard what they believe to be the rights of the unborn. Their ultimate goal is to ensure that every unborn child has the opportunity to survive and is provided the same rights and protections as any other individual, and the complete elimination of what they view as state-sanctioned child murder. This will be accomplished by guaranteeing that every unborn child has the opportunity to live. It is essential to keep in mind that people hold a wide variety of beliefs regarding abortion, and that the decision in Roe v. Wade is still hotly debated in the United States. Others view it as an essential component of reproductive rights and women's autonomy, whereas others view it as nationally sanctioned child murder. Regardless of how people feel about it, the decision has been made. The ongoing controversy regarding abortion rights continues to have an impact on the ethical, political, and legal conversations taking place across the country. Brian stood before the crowd, his voice carrying with conviction as he attacked the idea of church and state separation. He voiced his opposition to the concept of authority, claiming that it was counterproductive to society's growth. As he continued, he began to take aim at individual Christians who tried to argue without resorting to the Bible. His tone sharpened as he continued to criticize the initiative, implying that it was fruitless and wrong. When it came to topics of public policy, he seemed to think that the Bible should serve as the basic basis for any discussion or discourse. Every statement revealed the speaker's growing contempt for the wall of separation between church and state. He claimed that Christians should be bringing their faith into the public arena to regain the lost influence that had resulted from the split. To him, it was intellectually and morally deficient to disregard the guidance of biblical principles in favor of purely secular thinking. The crowd was attentive, with some heads nodding in accord and others furrowing their brows in thought. It was clear that the speaker believed what he was saying, and his arguments and tone were both firm. His statements hinted at a wistful longing for a more religiously enlightened past. Yet, There were others in the audience who silently questioned the speaker's perspective as he denounced the separation of religion and state and Christians' attempts to argue without invoking the Bible. They pondered the possibility that putting too much stock in religious scriptures could be restricting, and whether or if a more important approach that took into account different worldviews and values could foster more social cohesion. There was a wide range of responses from the audience, but everyone could agree that the speaker's criticism had sparked a discussion that would last long after his words had gone. It would take thoughtful deliberation and conversation to find a way forward on the divisive and complicated issues of church-state separation and the place of religion in public life in today's rapidly changing world. California Governor Gavin Newsom is at the center of a storm of criticism after he was accused of making his state an abortion destination state. Newsom is a passionate advocate for reproductive rights and has promised to make it easier for Californians to have legal abortions. The state of California is widely recognized for its liberal stances on a range of social issues, including reproductive rights. Access to reproductive health care, including abortion services, has been protected and expanded in the state thanks to Newsom's leadership. Efforts have been made to ensure all Californians have access to quality reproductive health care, and this includes passing laws to decriminalize abortion providers. The state of California has been criticized for Governor Gavin Newsom's pro-choice policies and rhetoric, which some say have made it an appealing destination for persons seeking abortion services, perhaps luring them away from states with stricter abortion legislation. Some critics of Newsom's pro-choice attitude have pointed to this as evidence that it may encourage more people to travel to California for abortions when they live in other states. There are many who agree with Newsom, who say that everyone should have access to safe and legal reproductive healthcare options like abortion. They argue that California's dedication to protecting these rights is consistent with the state's principles of diversity and freedom of choice. It's worth noting that although Newsom's detractors have called California an abortion destination state, the governor has never used the term or pushed for it. Nonetheless, the discussion and disagreement over abortion are fueled by the controversy surrounding Newsom's stance on reproductive rights. Brian, a staunch supporter of the pro-life movement, is openly frustrated by Christians who are hesitant to celebrate the overturn of Roe v. Wade. He claims that these Christians' reluctance stems from their disdain for former President Donald Trump. The speaker, in a tone somewhere between irritation and incredulity, criticizes the seeming elevation of one's own political choices above the value of human life. He does not hold back from discussing the significance of the Supreme Court's decision to overturn the landmark abortion verdict in his impassioned statement. They see it as a chance to help shape American culture in a way that recognizes the value of human life from the moment of conception. Some Christians, even though they share the same pro-life values as the speaker, are hesitant to welcome this historic occasion because of their dislike for former President Trump, which has frustrated the speaker. Brian challenges the reasoning for these doubts, stressing that this is not an endorsement of a particular individual, but rather a victory for the pro-life movement. They claim that if Roe v. Wade was overturned, it would have far-reaching implications, saving countless innocent lives from the horror of abortion. The speaker is disheartened that personal enmity against a politician seems to have overshadowed the significance of this victory in the fight against abortion. To them, it seems hypocritical for Christians to put their own political views before their professed dedication to protect the weak and supporting the value of every human life. Anxiety over linking Roe v. Wade's overthrow to Trump's actions, the speaker argues, indicates a mistaken sense of priority and distracts from the common aim of safeguarding the unborn. An increasingly prominent facet of Ted Cruz's political legacy is the involvement in endorsing Donald Trump and helping to install conservative Supreme Court justices. In the 2016 U.S. presidential election, Texas Senator Ted Cruz made headlines when he refused to endorse Donald Trump as the Republican nominee. Cruz's stunning endorsement of Trump shows how far his influence within the conservative movement has reached. Ted Cruz avoided endorsing Donald Trump by name during his speech at the Republican National Convention in July 2016. Instead of supporting the party's nominee, Cruz urged voters to vote with their conscience, which was seen as a rejection of the candidate. This decision caused a stir and cast the Republican Party's cohesion into doubt. Brian urges listeners to take their positions in the pro-life movement seriously. He calls for harmony and tolerance, saying it's crucial to avoid passing judgment on those who think differently. The speaker hopes to encourage productive conversation among people with different viewpoints by emphasizing the need for respect and empathy. We hope that you liked this discussion. Make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel.